Hey, happy Wednesday
Yes.
here on the Game Changing Work channel. And today, Roxana and I are going to get into the Agile world. Those of you that know me, I'm an Agilist, Agile coach, but also a career and life empowerment coach. So what I am doing is talking about the career aspect of a Scrum Master. And where I want to dump.
Fascinating.
I know. Roxana's
fascinating to me.
What is that? So today we're actually going to dive in, and this is a prequel to the webinar that I actually have later today. We'll have that link up later on in the show, but we're really going to talk about the focus and the impact of this particular career. And I call it a career for a reason, and come to my webinar and we'll talk about that further. But here is what we're going to focus on, and this is related to the GC index. But what I first want to do, and I know that I need to share my screen. I got a couple things here. Hold on one second. Is really understanding where things sit in relation to how we think of things. And I think I shared my screen. Did it share?
Not yet. Just toggle them. You need to allow it to go live.
Oh, you know what? I have a Mac. So those of you that use Restream, it's very particular about how that works. Okay. So can we see?
Now you can do it. You can do it. Okay.
Yeah. You want to bring that up?
Yeah.
So here's the first thing that I really want for, just to wrap our heads around it. And I'm going to dive in this further in the webinar later today. We already know when it comes to Scrum Masters that you go to get your certification, you learn how to be a Scrum Master, yay! And you say, I'm a certified Scrum Master. And that really is around the capability and skill sets. Or your organization decided to go Agile and adopt the Scrum framework, and you learned how to be a Scrum Master that way. Either way, it's a skill set and capability learning at that moment. Either you upskill, and either from coaching, somebody that is embedded in coaching like myself, or you go to further on classes to work on being a Scrum Master, and you learned about your behaviors of what you should do. Now, what you're looking at here is the Peter Dill's neurological programming language model. And what this helps conceptualize is how things are driven in an individual. And so before we jump into what we talk about impact and how people want to put their energy in, I wanted to make sure that we are connecting the dots. Oh, the strategist in me and Roxana. And Roxana, please jump in, make sure I'm not missing anything.
Oh, I will.
Is that this is where we start. But we know what's really going to drive the action and how you make an impact as a Scrum Master is driven by a higher level. And that is what I'm trying to show in this visual. And so when we jump over and start talking about the GC index, that is higher up in this programming language model of more getting into your values and beliefs, right, on why you actually do things, sits up there. So as you work on perfecting your skill sets and work on improving those wonderful behaviors and what you're supposed to be doing as a Scrum Master, why is it that you may not be as people-focused? Or why is it that you don't focus on continuous improvement? Mm-hmm. Now, Roxana's probably like, what the hell is a Scrum Master? So let's get clear on that and have a shared understanding. So a Scrum Master in the Scrum framework is that servant leader. They are the person that is going to help rally the team, help them collaborate better, and also be the person from the Scrum process. And I'm trying to dumb this down to where they're the ones that should be well-versed on how the Scrum framework works, the processes, and also really have an idea of best practices on how to use it, right? Of course, it should be where they should be a continuous learner and all about improving. And so they're also about flow, making sure that we're flowing value and delivering it out to the market. Now, it first came out with software and IT. You can see, Roxana, why that fit well, right?
Yeah.
They wanted someone to, one is make sure that everyone is collaborating together, working together as a team.
Mm-hmm.
And they're that person that kind of gets everyone together, the orchestrating.
Yeah.
But they also are about quality, doing things well, getting good, getting good product out there, making sure that the team is really focusing on building the right things. And also making sure that they're looking back and saying, well, what did we learn from it? Can we do something better? And you can see where I'm going with this. Mm-hmm. Now, those of you that are familiar with the GC index, you're probably like, oh, I already know what that looks like, right? And my challenge is in today's call is, are you focusing on a people focus and continuous improvement as a Scrum Master? And if we look at this neurological programming change model here, what's driving what? If you are going to classes, you have a coach, and they're trying to get you to, improve your behaviors and skill sets and what to focus and get to action, and you wonder why a Scrum Master never does anything. In the way, when I say does anything, let me just rephrase that, doesn't perform in the way as expectation, because we have expectations of what this role should do. You ask any coach out there, they have an expectation of what a Scrum Master should be doing and the outcomes that they should have, right? That expectation sometimes falls flat for a reason. And that's what I'm jumping into. So I love the fact that I paired with somebody that doesn't know a damn thing about Agile.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking, because now, like, for me, now I understand why you said that I'm already doing Agile and I don't know it. Because I wasn't aware of what this means for a Scrum Master and what a Scrum Master is. So thanks for explaining that. But I was looking at this and I'm thinking, because this is the whole reason of why I say that it's all personal, nothing is just business, is because of this. Because if you look at these, all of them are very personal to each individual. You don't have to be a Scrum Master to understand what you just explained. And what I'm preaching to people and managers and teams that I work with is exactly that. It's like, hey, you're going to have some control over your environment. You're going to have control over your behavior, over your skills, your values and beliefs, your identity, everything. And that will show up in everything you do and in how you do it. There is no way to block something. That's why I love it when we discuss about split identities, because you cannot keep splitting your identity over and over again and expect that you're going to be fine long term. So it's like, that is exactly why I say, hey, this is why it's all personal, because it all comes from here and it will show up.
Exactly. You can't deny it.
Yeah.
It is innate in an individual. And this is why I'm showing this. It's why they do something. And at the end of the day, who they are is how they're going to start showing up.
Yeah.
And you can't fake it. This is why coaches get frustrated when you have Scrum Masters that are assigned to this role and you're like, gosh, they just won't do it. Well, probably because you're making them do something that is going against their values and beliefs and really their true identity. Yeah. And either one, they're not wanting to admit to it, right? They're like, oh, I got assigned to this role, or I want to do this role. I think I can do it, right? They're in denial. And, or they were voluntold to be in this and they don't have a way out. Sure. It's like, well, what other job am I going to do? I mean, am I going to be jobless? And so a lot of this is actually happening with people, and it's unfortunate because they're probably going through internal turmoil.
Yeah.
Now, there are some of them that will self-admit that I've had one-on-one conversations. They're like, yeah, I'm just doing it. And they're honest with each other. But how is that benefiting the company? How is that benefiting the millions or thousands of dollars that companies are spending to go through an agile transformation? It's ridiculous. So as we get back and we start to talk about being people focused and continuous improvement, this is huge. There is a frenzy out there certifying Scrum Masters like left and right, which is really only focusing on the capabilities and skill sets.
Yeah.
And yes, game changer me being a little disruptive and saying, well, yeah, I might be messing up the moneymaker here, but in the behaviors, right? You have a lot of things that are helping with, helping address the behaviors when they're up leveling and wanting to be more advanced. But at the end of the day, you're only going to get so much out of that individual if they're not getting real on who they are and why they really want to do something, period. So they're never going to want to put their energy into it. Now, there are different variations of what we're about to jump into today. And I'll jump into it more in the webinar later on today at 3:00. But it is something we really need to wake up and be honest with ourselves of what's actually happening out there. It's a career. It's like somebody going into law that doesn't like to litigate. And so then they have to figure out, okay, well, what part of law maybe I can get into? Well, what do you do when you're in a role as a Scrum Master and there isn't an option to do something different? Because you know how like you can go down a path and be a different type of doctor.
And I know what you're going to say. There's always options.
And they are always options. But at a certain point, if the one thing, it's like me going to be a doctor and I can't stand the sight of blood.
Yeah.
Hello. So where I'm going at is being people focused and wanting to, and really wanting to put the energy into continuous improvement. That's like not liking blood.
Exactly.
So you can have all these variations of Scrum Masters out there where they want to focus on, which I'll dive into some of that later. But these two essential things about how somebody wants to put their energy into this career, and I say role and career, but I'm using it interchangeably, is that you have to be people focused. And so I'm going to share my next thing.
So what I like about this is for anybody who is not a Scrum Master, they can totally resonate because like definitely when we talk about career, we talk about long-term and we talk about being invested in it. And it's career versus just a job that pays the bills. So what are you looking at doing? What are you, where do you want to have impact? What do you want to leave behind, right? So, okay, I'm going to put this on because I love this because it's pretty clear on impact, on both individual and team impact, I think. Because it talks about, okay, how do we understand our impact as individuals and as teams in an organization, looking at the culture. And if we look at this, the reason I like it is, okay, Nike came up with their maxim, number one, it is our nature to innovate. So there you go. For people who were game changers, that it was easy for them to maybe resonate with this, right? Because, hey, let's innovate, let's do things in an original way, let's come up with ideas and stuff and change the world, right? For strategists even, they could resonate and they could feel, okay, I am engaged and motivated in this because I can see how I can plan and how I can strategize to move forward. So being
Yeah.
an implementer or even a polisher in here, or even for playmakers, we're going to talk about that, but for implementers and polishers, for the doers and for the perfectionists, the chances that they felt a little bit more disconnected were high. So having the GC index come in and say, well, hey, actually, you guys are doing things in a way that nobody has done before, or you're creating things that are so good and that you're improving something that already exists and bring it to perfection. That gave them purpose. That helped them understand, oh, actually, I might not be the most innovative person there is, but I still connect with the values of the company, with the culture of the company, because I'm in this with other people and I can see what my purpose is. So connected with purpose and
Yeah.
how understanding your impact instantly takes you to what is my purpose and what's my contribution.
And this has nothing to do with psychometrics. And this is not saying one is better than the other, but this is why I showed that NPL Peter Dill's model, is because it's driven from a higher level than what psychometrics give you. This is not a psychometric. And ultimately, when we talk about Scrum Masters really needing to want to value and really believe on a people-focused and continuous improvement, you don't have to worry about them wanting to put energy into it, because they will. And we don't have to worry about, you know, where we talk about diversity and inclusion, it's completely outside of that. We can look at it in a very objective way. And here's another great thing. Me, you know, being in many organizations that no one has ever been a Scrum Master before, and they're like, holy shit, I have to take this role now, right? Like, oh, what am I going to do? Well, if we actually knew that it's innate in them, that they have values and belief to be people focused and to really want to continuously improve, building the right things, improving processes, right? It's all about looking at that. You don't have to worry about spending your time and energy teaching this new role with someone, because they're going to grasp it and adopt it better, that they're going to want to focus on improving their skill sets and behaviors. You ever wonder, as an Agile coach, you know, why one person will do it or not, right? And your natural thing is, well, that's probably the role's not cut out for them. And you're probably right. But when have you ever had the ability to truly do anything about it in a very productive, objective, data analytical way, to talk to a manager or the people that decided to put that individual in a role where, one, it doesn't get personal about the person, or it gives you the ability for them to look at it objectively and maybe go, you know what? Let's find other people that actually have it that we didn't really think about. Yeah. Like, I found Scrum Masters that weren't even related into an area, but they were very successful. It's because they had these natural inclinations.
So do you think, I have a question here, do you think a Scrum Master has a lot of playmaking abilities? If we look at the GC index here, are Scrum Masters playmakers as well? Or what is, because...
Oh, yes. And the question is, to what degree and what level? And I know that Nathan, the CEO of the GC Index, him and I had a conversation of that, and where he said, you know, I think that they probably should have a level of 5. Well, in truth, you and I know our Playmaker is 4. And I can tell you by my personal experience, I am fine playmaking if it's driven by my game changer, and I do really well. And in the situations of me being an Agile coach, is if they are willing and open to change. because as game changers, we don't do very well with people that are not willing and open to change.
We like autonomous people as well.
So I know I excel and I do very well as an agile coach. And even when I thought about when I was a Scrum Master, so I've been a product owner, I've been a Scrum Master. So I can say this from experience that my playmaking turns on if people are open to new ideas and change. They really want to improve, right? And innovate. My polisher is around in the same area. My polishing and continuous improvement, again, gets turned on when I'm in an environment. So think of that, the neurological programming language. My environment has it where people are actually wanting to change and they know there's a better way of doing something. That's a total game changer. And I get really deflated as an agile coach when I'm not in an environment where people aren't open and willing.
Yeah.
I don't like forcing it. Now, here's where it becomes very beneficial. If you are in a situation where you have, you're kind of in that one where they're not yet open yet, and you're trying to help with that, you probably need someone with an extremely higher playmaker natural inclination because they won't burn out as quickly. And they're really going to they're more patient and they really will put their energy on really bringing people together.
So I like what you said.
I won't do that.
Yeah.
I give up.
I like it because that means so and in my experience it's the same thing. I mean, the fact that you have one proclivity or one inclination or another, that's not necessarily going to show as such, because it depends on so many things, and it depends on the environment, and it depends on the culture that you're operating in. Because if you have a high proclivity for game changer or strategies, for instance, in our case, and you don't have that freedom, you don't have the environment where you can actually do things and you have the freedom to change stuff, then you're actually going to be super frustrated, and it's not going to show. It's not that you're not going to have the impact that you can have if you're in the wrong environment.
And I've been in many situations where they probably not got great reviews because they really wanted an implementer type of coach that really is going to hands-on and do the work. And I failed at it because I didn't want to do that. That's not who I am. I'm a game changer strategist. And I really want to have the people do it. Like, I'm not one to like doing the work. I like to help elevate and help people get them to do the work. But I'm not going to do it. So when they want a hands-on type coach that's going to get in and do that, I'm probably not the best coach for you in truth. Yeah. But here's the thing. There are levels that when it comes to the GC index, that a 1 to 3, when we measure, these are people with the lowest inclination. And I want to point this out, is that person that has a 1 to 3 as a playmaker, I hate to say it, but they're probably in the wrong career and role, period. If you're not wanting to put the energy around people, the whole point of this role is about people.
Exactly. Or maybe it's not the right environment. Maybe exactly as you said, it's the wrong role because maybe it requires something else from you, something that you're not cut for.
The point of the role is about people.
Exactly.
And the point of the role is about continuous improvement. The only way, so let's give a situation where the environment might allow them to hide in. It's kind of like the ego is, I'm a Scrum Master, but you don't know that I'm not really wanting to put my energy in people, is because the team is already functioning well. And so that need is not there. But okay, so now let's peel the onion further back on that situation, because we're talking about playmaking. What about the polisher over here that is all about improving something that already exists? So you have a high-performing team that works well with each other, great relationships, they're honest, they're candid, they're able to get through anything, right? Great. But they go through retrospectives, which, by the way, retrospectives are inspect and adapt, where you're looking back and saying, what went well, what can be improved, what are the new outcomes and goals that we want to achieve. Now, it's always room for improvement is my point. And you wonder why, which is this is the number one ceremony, by the way, if you're a Scrum Master in Scrum events, that they should be designing and focusing their attention on. One, it gets the people together to talk honest and candid and get real. So you see where I'm going with this? And you have to creatively get them to figure out, even if they think their shit don't stink and they're doing really well, to get them to think about there's always room for improvement. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have a natural inclination to want to focus on this area, say you're in that 1 to 3 scale again, how do you think that retrospective is going to go? And the only way that this gets hidden again is because someone else is serving it. But I'm gonna challenge this. Then what the hell are they doing in that role when those are the two things that they should be doing?
And I think that's and that you made me create another caption as well, because I can see the relevance of this for everybody who manages a team, right? I mean,
no. This is why I love your perspective, because you don't know anything about Agile.
But I can connect. If I'm a manager and I have a team that I want to manage, the fact that I need to discuss, I need to celebrate successes, but I need to be able to discuss challenges. And that's one of the conversations that I had with team managers or team leaders was, oh, no, my team is great, but they're not comfortable in sharing challenges like that with one another. And I think, well, in this case, let me break it to you. You don't have a team. You only have a group of people who have to work together. Because if they're not able to share challenges and discuss them and come up with some solutions for the situation, and they're not comfortable with it, that means they don't trust each other. If they don't trust each other, then you have no team. And it's your role as a team manager to do it.
Yeah, and we probably didn't do as a good job on the show today of trying to engage and ask people. We had a couple people that have been in and out, but I think we have 2 people that are actually on YouTube watching us. Woohoo!
Thank you.
So again, subscribe to our channel. You will never miss a beat by subscribing. But also, we'd love to hear from you of what you think about this topic today, because it's pretty controversial out there. There's a lot of people that have felt the pain, probably been in this role and going, oh my God, no wonder why I get frustrated or I don't want to do it, because this expectation. And then you got this coach going ding, 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 ding at you, trying to make you do something you don't really want to do. And how unfair is that to the individual? And so we can remove all of these things, these unnecessary things that make everyone unhappy, everyone not meeting the results that we're trying to get, by just getting real and honest of who we are and why we want to do things and cut to the chase.
Yeah. But you know what? It's when you say it like that, it looks easy. You have to have somebody who knows what they're doing so that you can actually cut to the chase. You have to have somebody who really takes responsibility for that and also likes to do it. It's like you have to have the right people in the right role for that.
So if you're trying to develop the behaviors and skill sets to like what you're referring to, wouldn't you want to start at the top, making sure that who you are in your identity and why you do things is clear? If it's not clear,
don't expect anyone else to be clear on the why, right? If it's not clear to you.
But and if I was trying to make a business decision, I'm going to flip this paradigm, right? I like to work on the individual and help them get clear. But I'm also on the other side right now, you know, when you talk to managers and they're trying to figure out how to put people in the role as an agile coach. Mm-hmm. How much money do you waste by putting the wrong people there? And then you're going through trying to develop these agile teams, and you're paying for this embedded coaching, and you're trying to get team agile going and perfected, and you have the wrong people. Or here's another thing. You outsource a lot, and you're putting it in someone else's hands to figure out and choose this role. How stupid is that? I'm not going to just sugarcoat it. How stupid is that on your decision making and the way that you're spending your money on trying to do an agile transformation or adopt agile. It's insane
It is
to me.
insane, and I think it's not just the financial cost. At this point, it's also the psychological cost on everybody, which will end up having even more financial costs for you.
Yeah, I mean, I had to go on the bottom line because most of them think that way, but you're absolutely right when it comes to engagement and trying to build a culture that you're trying to move towards. Now we are at time. So follow us on LinkedIn on our Game Changer Work page. That's also a great way if you're always on the LinkedIn platform. But what type of Scrum Master are you? I'm going to dive deep into this, and we're really going to peel that onion back to figure out what type of Scrum Master are you if you really are wanting to shine in your career as a Scrum Master. And one is empower you to put you in the driver's seat and make choices. Because I can tell you right now, this career is rising. And if you even go on today if you look back and look where we are, even during this pandemic, and some people have lost their jobs, but I can tell you right now, they're coming out. I've looked on even LinkedIn jobs between Agile coaches and Scrum Masters. It's blowing up again. So it is a career. Come join me today, and let's dive further on how to empower you in this career and help you shine.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So I am launching my Lead for Legacy League for managers and team leaders in bigger organizations or in small businesses. I don't know, you might have your own business, you have a small team that you need to manage. How do you manage them, and how do you manage yourself? So this is a league for you as team managers to learn, to connect, to network, brainstorm. We're going to do group coaching. We're going to have guest speakers invited. It's a group that supports you as a team manager to really grow into the best version of you so that you can help others in your team grow, and so you can help your business grow or your organization grow. So I talk about that, and I talk about how to self-care in my webinar. And actually, we both have webinars today. It's going to be full webinar day. So either join me for the webinar or just connect with me on LinkedIn or on Facebook to ask me more about the Lead for Legacy League. Okay.
Now I'm going to put a plug in for those of you that are watching that are Agilists and come from the Agile community. There's a lot of Agile leadership programs that are out there today.
Yeah.
Roxanne and I were talking about this prior to going live, and I know we're over, but I want to put this plug in. We know about the middle managers, the frozen middle, and what we call the forgotten. Yeah. Her program, she didn't see it because she's not an Agilist, but I was enlightening. And those of you that are in middle management and you don't feel like you have the support, you feel lost, you really want to get that love, go check out this program. Go check out even Roxana's webinar because she's addressing it. She doesn't realize in these Agile transformations or people that are actually going through even a department or whatever, what these middle management people are going through. So indirectly, I'm kind of connecting the dots for her of how well her program is going to help that.
Yeah, I wanted to get them out of isolation, and I wanted somebody to take care of them because I know they're lost, and I could see that. And talking to them, I could see that what you just did and connected with the Agile world. It helps me a lot. So I can see that it's the promoter in you again.
Oh, by the way, that's a personality thing that her and I did, but we do have the identical GC index profile. Okay. So we are way over time. Thank you guys for joining us today. Her and I can just keep talking, obviously, but let you start your morning. And those of you that are watching the recorded version, please put your comments in. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Game Changing Work channel. And we will see you on Friday. And what is our Friday topic?
I don't remember right now.
Uh-oh.
But it is something that has to do with game changing. So again, and I think we talk about personalities and work styles.
Yes, that's what it is. Look
So,
we're having a morning brain fart.
well,
But you know
like,
what? If you
doesn't
subscribe
everybody?
to us,
I don't know.
yeah, if you subscribe to us, you would already know because it's posted there.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm testing you guys. I don't know.
But
All
I'll
right,
see
see you
on
guys.
Friday.